Yeah, so how did you learn about this whole 2012 concept?
Well, I had heard about the end of the Mayan calendar from somebody, probably just, some late night crazy conversation where someone had brought it up a long, long time ago. And, the predictions that the Mayan calendar had made as far as solar and lunar eclipses, like far in the future, and they were very accurate. And then someone turned me on to Terence McKenna, and I read about time wave zero novelty theory. And I read about, his whole, theory about exponentially growing technology is going to lead to some singularity, And I guess there's a bunch of people that actually subscribe to that same theory too. And I just became fascinated by just the whole idea of human history and how short it has been. And I try to explain it to people on stage sometimes. Like, I'll have a club where there's like 300 people in the room, and I'll say to them, like, this is how little we know about human history. Okay, there's 300 of us in the room. Now, let's say, best case scenario, each one of us lived to be 100 years old. Now, if you took those days, birth to death, and made them back to back, all the people in the room would be 30,000 fucking years. That's a long time. And that's only 300 people. It just shows you what a blink of an eye human history has really been, and how little we know about what has happened to human beings in the past, and about why these gigantic stones that are perfectly cut in all these weird spots in the world where they have no idea how people move the rocks, and like where is that? Is that because humans have been around a lot longer than we think, and then we were wiped out? Or is it at one point in time people were incredibly smart and they just forgot how to do all that stuff? Either one is a fascinating exploration. But I really just started thinking more and more about how insane it is that we're basically, as human beings, we play follow the leader. But there's no leader. We're all pretending that we know what life is all about, where life is going, where this country's going, and where the war is going. We all want to pretend that we know this is a great candidate or this is a great direction for our country. But the reality is we know so little, it's shocking. About everything, about our past, about what life is. I mean, what the fuck is this? We're just going through it, and no one wants to stop and say, what is this? I feel untethered, but still connected to everything all the time. I'm driving this fucking metal box with rubber wheels over these mountains, and not even think about the fact that this fucking planet is just flying around the sun. And
Which is flying around something else, just flying around something else.
Yeah, and then sometimes those things collide. There's like the theory of Earth 1 and Earth 2, that Earth 1 is like that's how the moon was created. We were hit with another fucking planet? Like, whoa! A fucking planet's coming at you. That's real. That's real shit.
So what do you think's going to happen in 2012?
Oh, God, who knows? I mean, if anything, I think the greatest event that could happen in 2012 is nothing happens in 2012. And it keeps going on business as usual. That would be far more shocking, than anything really extreme. I mean, it seems like we're building
toward business as usual can go on.
No, I'm being facetious.
Okay.
We're building towards some sort of an event. Whatever it is, I don't know. Whether it's a conscious event, whether it's a physical event like the actual planet's going to go through an event, or whether or not those things are all connected. I mean, that's a very real possibility too. The idea of the Earth as this living organism, just like we're living organisms, that the Earth is one too, and it's aware of all this and any changes, and maybe it's intelligent and it's evolving its intelligence. Maybe it's evolving just as we're evolving technology. Maybe the Earth is evolving its consciousness. Maybe it's a constant process for everything, not just human beings. But for maybe the planet itself. It's very possible. I mean, who's to say it's not? Just because it can't express itself in English language, or through something that we can stick into a DVD player, it doesn't mean it's not conscious.
Oh, there's those DVDs, Planet Earth now. Those are pretty good.
Those are pretty badass. Those really, really trip you out. You start thinking that, Los Angeles is what life is really all about. You see these wild spots in the world where fucking zebras are running across a field and then lions are chasing them. You're like, that's going down right now. Could you imagine if that shit was happening out here? Lions taking down giraffes. What?
I guess I first heard about. I don't really watch TV that much, but I heard about you from this radio thing you did about DMT experiences.
Yeah, well, that was totally unplanned. What that was is my friend Jim Brewer. He's a stand-up comedian friend of mine, and we've done clubs together since I think I met Jim probably in 1991, somewhere around then, and I've known him forever. Really hilarious, just crazy dude. And I hadn't been on his show in forever. I hadn't seen him in forever, and we both took a pot lollipop. I gave him one, and I took one, and they're so powerful. And as the show went on, like an hour in, I'm on fucking Pluto, and someone calls up, and they ask about DMT, some caller. And he had heard, apparently my friend Doug Stanhope, had described an experience on the radio that he had, that I had turned him on to. And so I started explaining it on the radio, and I just started repeating everything I knew about it, trying to get as much, I just tried to get as much information out. I'm like, I know this is going to sound crazy. I can't even believe I'm talking about it, because normally I don't even talk about it, because if people don't know what DMT is, or don't know what a real crazy breakthrough psychedelic experience, what that feels like, talking to them about it is like you're talking to them about shooting heroin. It's the same feeling. It's like you're talking about drugs. You're talking about some weakness of character that you have that makes you want to ingest something to get away from it all because you can't handle life. And you want to go, listen, it would be very cowardice to look at all these experiences that way. It would be very cowardice. The real cowardly move is to shy away from drugs because you don't know anything about them. Listen to all these fucking people that are telling you all these crazy experiences that they're having and how it's changing them forever as a human being. And for the better. For the better, and almost every single occurrence. I mean, everyone's going to be different. Everyone has their own biochemistry, but everybody that I've ever met that's done DMT comes back and just goes, whoa. Like, whoa.
What was the experience like for you?
It's, describing it in words, it always feels so fake. It's like there's no words that have been invented that are going to describe that experience, You
didn't like hyper-transforming machine elves?
It wasn't like that to me,
It wasn't like that to me either.
I heard some things that McKenna said. Like, look at this. They say look at this a lot. And I heard them say, don't give in to astonishment. But I was wondering, like, is that because I knew that McKenna said that?
He set the template.
Who knows? I don't know.
So what was kind of your experience? Like,
but it didn't seem to be like hyper, what did he call them? Self-transforming machine elves. They didn't seem like elves to me. It seemed like, what I always describe them as these complex geometric patterns that are made out of love. That's how I describe them. And that means nothing. Those are just a bunch of words. You know what I mean? It's just like, I try to say it in a way that's interesting and funny. But, reality, what is it? There's just some incredible patterns that you can't ever really look at. It's like they're too beautiful for you to take in, and they're changing all the time. And I remember one of the craziest moments of the experience is I had a negative thought. For whatever reason, I don't know what it was, or whether I was just, it's so shocking. It's so, like, uprooting, and, you just feel so untethered when it happens. So just humbled and in awe. I guess at one point in time during the trip, my brain went to a bad place. Like, I started thinking negative. Like, maybe I was worried about this being dangerous, and maybe I'm going to die. And, there was like a moment where everything went dark. It got real weird. And like all the patterns changed to this dark black and dark green color. It was like a warning. And then I realized, I just said to myself, no, this is all bullshit. Just relax. Like, relax. Like, you're just creating negativity for no reason. Just relax. And when I thought that, and when I gave up, and when I gave into it, boom! Everything exploded in beauty again. Like insane beauty all around me, instantly. And I was like, oh my God, like that's the answer. Like, that's literally life. Literally, negative thinking and positive thinking, like, defined to me, explained to me in this beautiful show. It changed me forever. I'll never look at anything the same way again. I know there's tangible proof, to me at least, from my experience, that that energy is real, that positive and negative energy, and that love is real, and that the connection that all human beings have is real. It's a real thing. You know, we just can't quite feel it all the time. We can't write it down on paper and quantify it. We can't, put it in a package and you open it and there it is, but it's still real. You know, there's some sort of crazy connection that we all share.
Why do you think that like mainstream society has been like so against people having these kind of experiences and like made them illegal and sort of suppressed it?
Well, for capitalism, it's terrible.
Why is that?
well, the first thing you realize, or the first thing I realized when I started thinking like this and started thinking this way, and it was a slow realization. It took me a long time, and I finally kind of wrapped my head around it really recently, like within the last couple months. I was actually on a boat, and there was these dolphins jumping, and I was thinking, these dolphins are like putting on a show. You know, they're like having fun, like flying through the air and splashing, and every time the dolphins would jump, I would, whoa, whoa! You know, it was like fun. I was like having fun with them, and they were having fun with us. And I started thinking, I'm like, God, they're so conscious. They're so intelligent. They never get caught by these stupid hooks. They're not getting caught by any of these fishing hooks or anything. No, no.